Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. The studio lights had always felt warm to Kelly Ripa, like a familiar sunrise she could step into no matter how heavy the morning felt. For decades, she had greeted America with laughter, wit, and a buoyant energy that seemed indestructible. But on this particular morning, as the countdown clock blinked toward airtime, something was different. The warmth couldn't reach her eyes. Behind the scenes, makeup brushes paused mid-air. A producer cleared his throat and looked away. Even the hum of the studio, normally a comforting symphony of cables, chatter, and cue cards, felt muted, as if the room itself knew to lower its voice. Kelly sat perfectly still, hands folded in her lap, breathing carefully. She had always believed in showing up, no matter what. That belief had carried her through early career rejections, long days balancing motherhood and fame, and the constant public scrutiny that comes with being a household name. But heartbreak has a way of testing even the strongest convictions. Just hours earlier, her family's world had cracked open. The call came before dawn, the kind of call that steals the air from your lungs before you even know why. Mark Consuelos, Kelly's husband and partner in both life and work, answered first. He listened in silence, his face draining of color. When he turned to Kelly, she knew before he spoke that nothing would ever be quite the same. The news was deeply personal, painful, unthinkable, a family crisis that no amount of fame, money, or public goodwill could soften. It was the kind of heartbreak that makes time feel unreal, stretching seconds into hours and compressing years into a single, shattering moment. Kelly didn't cry right away. Shock wrapped around her like a heavy coat. She moved through the house on instinct, checking her phone, making coffee she wouldn't drink, staring out the window as the sky slowly brightened. Somewhere upstairs, her children were still asleep, unaware that the foundation beneath them had shifted. How do you protect your family from a storm when the storm is already inside the house? By the time Kelly arrived at the studio, the decision had already been made. She would go on air. Not because it was easy, not because she felt ready, but because for Kelly, showing up had always been an act of love for her audience, her colleagues, and, in a strange way, for herself. Routine could be a lifeline. Familiarity could hold you steady when everything else felt like it was slipping away. As the opening theme played and the cameras rolled, viewers at home sensed it immediately. Her smile was there, but softer. Her laughter came, but a beat too late. Social media lit up within minutes. Is Kelly okay? She seems different today. My heart feels heavy watching her. Fans who had grown up with Kelly felt the shift instinctively. She wasn't just a TV host, she was a morning companion, a constant presence through their own joys and losses. And now, something in her was asking to be seen, even if she couldn't yet say the words. Halfway through the show, Kelly's voice wavered. She paused, eyes glistening, and placed a hand over Mark's. The studio fell silent. Life, she said softly, choosing each word with care, has a way of reminding us what truly matters. That was all she shared. She didn't name the heartbreak, she didn't explain, but the emotion was unmistakable. And in that brief, vulnerable moment, millions of viewers felt their own throats tighten. When the cameras finally stopped rolling, Kelly didn't rush back to the dressing room. She sat quietly, shoulders slumping as the adrenaline faded. Mark wrapped his arms around her, steady and protective. No words were necessary. They had weathered storms together before, but this one felt different, deeper, more fragile. At home, the family gathered around the kitchen table. Tears flowed freely now. Questions were asked that had no answers, the kind of questions parents dread and children shouldn't have to carry. Kelly listened more than she spoke. She held hands. She made promises she intended to keep, even if she didn't yet know how. Above all, she reminded them of one truth she believed with her whole heart. They would face this together. But when the house finally grew quiet and everyone retreated to their rooms, Kelly allowed herself a moment alone. She stood in the hallway, family photos lining the walls, birthdays, graduations, candid laughter frozen in time. Each image felt like a whisper from a life that had felt safer
Pressed her
just
forehead
yesterday.
against the cool wall and finally let herself cry. The internet, often cruel and unforgiving, transformed overnight. Messages of love poured in from across the world, sending strength to Kelly and her family. "You've been there for us, now let us be there for you." Heartbroken for her, she's always been so strong. Celebrities, colleagues, and longtime friends reached out privately, offering support without demands. No interviews, no pressure, just presence. Kelly read many of the messages late at night, phone glowing softly in the dark. She was overwhelmed, not just by the pain she was carrying, but by the reminder that vulnerability creates connection, that even in heartbreak, she was not alone. For years, Kelly had been praised for her resilience, for bouncing back, for smiling through exhaustion, for making it all look effortless. But strength, she realized, is often misunderstood. Strength isn't pretending everything is fine. Strength is getting out of bed when your heart feels too heavy to lift. Strength is asking for help when you'd rather be the helper. Strength is letting your children see your tears and teaching them that pain doesn't have to be hidden. In the days that followed, Kelly stepped back from the spotlight, not entirely, but enough to breathe, to grieve, to focus on her family without the constant pull of public expectation. And for the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to not have all the answers. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Kelly sat on the back porch, wrapped in a blanket. Mark joined her, 2 mugs of tea steaming between them. They watched the sky shift from gold to deep blue, the world continuing on as it always does, indifferent, yet strangely comforting. "We'll get through this," Mark said gently. Kelly nodded. She believed him, not because the path ahead was clear, but because love had always been their compass. Love for their children, for each other, for the life they had built, imperfect and precious. Heartbreak changes you. It leaves marks you don't always see, but it also strips away illusions, revealing what truly endures. As news of Kelly's family heartbreak spread, still respectfully guarded, still private, fans began sharing their own stories: loss, illness, fear. The comments became less about celebrity and more about humanity. Kelly Ripa was no longer just the woman on the screen making America laugh. She was a mirror, reflecting the truth that no life, no matter how glamorous, escapes pain. And in that reflection, people found comfort. Because if someone who seemed to have it all could be brought to her knees and still choose love, still choose family, still choose to show up, then maybe they could too. Kelly returned to the show weeks later with a quieter presence, but a deeper one. Her laughter felt more intentional. Her words carried weight. She spoke about gratitude, not as a platitude, but as a practice. "Hold your people close," she said one morning, voice steady but eyes shining, "and don't wait for a reason." The heartbreak hadn't vanished. It likely never would, but it had reshaped her, carving out space for a tenderness that reached far beyond the studio walls. Fans noticed. They always did. And as Kelly Ripa continued forward, one breath, one step, one brave moment at a time, millions watched not just a host, but a woman navigating the same fragile terrain as everyone else. In the end, that was the most shocking truth of all. Not that heartbreak could touch her, but that even in the deepest pain, she could still find the courage to face the light and invite the world to do the same. Heartbreak.